Welcome to the Best Take Bracket. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Faust, and a special guest, my buddy, Mr. Clean. What's your name over there?
Hey, Mr. Clean is just fine. Justin Masterson coming at you. Appreciate you having me on here, Mr. Brandon Faust.
Well, thank you so much for joining our huge production here. Glad that you could make some time for us. Well, today we are going to have a pretty amazing matchup, in my opinion. We're going to go with a 3 seed. Justin will be giving his best take on Mariano Rivera, and I will be rocking the 14 seed. Is that how math works? The 14 seed for Rob Gronkowski. Now, Justin, if I remember correctly, you've got a little bit of a personal story with Mariano Rivera that maybe would be a nice teaser before we get into our 90 seconds of best takes. So you give a little taste of your experience with Rivera.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it clouds my judgment or helps, but I did have a personal experience with him in his final season of his career. He was at the All-Star game, and I also happened to be at that All-Star game, and we were hanging out in the bullpen together. And instead of closing out the game, they wanted to make sure that he got in there. And so after getting to talk with him a little bit during the game, of course, he comes down late because he's a reliever, the closer. So he comes down, does his thing, chit-chats with us, super nice guy. And, so the 8th inning, he starts warming up. And I just go, and well known for holding the gate open for him when he's about to run in. I have these neon yellow cleats on that Adidas gave me. And then sure enough, as the whole crowd just raises up and cheering for him, I'm just sitting there, open up the gate. If you look at it, I think you can see it on YouTube or whatever. I'm off to the side, just doing my little clapping bit, just watching, as we'll hear, the greatest closers ever to go into his final All-Star game.
It's good, man. That's a story right there, man. I remember you telling me that story before and was just blown away. Well, let's go here. Justin, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You got to follow up a story like that with a good 90-second take on Mariano Rivera. And so we're gonna give 90 seconds on the clock and give your best take. Ready, set, go.
Yeah, Mariano Rivera, a man who, as been talked about before, spent his entire career with a single team, which is pretty impressive. And not only that, but you're in New York, and not just New York, but with the Yankees, a team who has historically been absolutely incredible throughout their history. A lot of demands. They love their team. It's a really neat place to go and a cool place to be. But the dude was a 13-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion, World Series MVP, ALCS MVP, All-Star MVP. And in 2019, he was the first player in baseball history to be unanimously elected into the Hall of Fame. That's unanimously. Every single person. There's been tons of greats to come through, and yet he is the first in 2019 to actually have that. He was the MLB's all-time saves leader. But not only that, dude's a follower of Christ, which some of you may not care about. But
30 seconds.
But to me, it's pretty impressive. He's on a mission to provide youth from impoverished families with an education that will empower them. And the crazy thing about him is every batter knew what was coming. He threw a cut fastball that cut, and yet everyone knew it was coming, and yet no one could even hit it that well. And that is the impressive thing about Mariano Rivera.
Wow, with 3 seconds to spare, even, man. That's a good best take right there, buddy.
Dude, guy's amazing.
Especially coming from one pitcher to another pitcher. That's pretty cool. Justin knows his stuff, so that's good. All right, here we go. Gonna give my best take on Gronk and try and follow what just happened right there. So here we go.
Good luck,
3, 2, 1. Rob Gronkowski, better known as Gronk, aka with the Gronk spike, 6'6", 265, hands measured 10 3/4 inches, thumb to pinky. Get out a measurement, do that with yourself, and measure, and you won't match up. He's just a big guy. I would say he's kind of like the LeBron James of the NFL. Nightmare matchup for defensive backs, nightmare matchup for linebackers. You had to plan and scheme around him. I would argue that he made Tom Brady even more of what he was. You know, he took Tom Brady to another stratosphere, having that safety valve, but also having a guy who could beat a defensive back or a linebacker going deep. Only Joe Montana and Jerry Rice have linked up for more touchdowns in NFL history. You know, Gronk had a little bit of an injury bug, retired actually at a pretty young age. The Gronk spike is known because he was always in the end zone, right? Like it was just like a weird day if you didn't see a Brady to Gronk touchdown. You know, the MIT Sloan Sports Conference, they calculated Gronk's arm moves at a 130-degree angle with the football leaving his hand at 60 miles per hour. Maybe not a 130-degree angle out of his arm, but 60 miles per hour, delivering 650 pounds of force. That guy could spike a ball. Just shows his power, right? And he's on the NFL 100 anniversary all-time team, NFL receiving touchdown leader in 2011 for a single season. He's a beast. He's the Gronk. That's the end of the take. So, yeah, I mean, so there we go. A classic 3-14 matchup. You know, we're getting some baseball, we're getting some football in. You know, the people will vote. So make sure, vote at the link below. We're having some fun with this. We're also, you know, as you'll be hearing, we're going to, you know, continue to shine a spotlight on some really great nonprofits and things that are happening in our city and people who are doing good stuff. So thanks for joining. Staying tuned on this episode of the Best Take Bracket. Thanks, Justin.
Hey, appreciate it. Get out there and vote.